Hello, you beautiful souls. Welcome to Awaken and Align. Today is June 1st when I'm recording this. And I just wanted to take this moment to take a collective breath together. So if you are driving, obviously do not do this, but I just wanted to start this off on a beautifully grounded note. So wherever you are, please be in a seated position. Feeling your sits bones grounded to the chair or to the ground or wherever you are. Feeling fully present in this moment. And if you are able to, close your eyes. Allow your body and your mind to relax. Fully aware of your body and your presence. And you can place your hands on your knees or somewhere on your body. And I invite you to take a deep breath, inhale through the belly, through your nose, inhale deeply. Hold at the top, expanding your ribs, your lungs. Exhaling out through the mouth, getting fully empty. Next, deep inhale from the belly, through the nose, through your lungs, your clavicle, hold at the top. Exhaling out through the mouth. Feeling empty. Last one, make it your best one. Deep inhale from the belly through the nose. Deep inhale. Expand your heart space, your lungs, puff out your chest. Hold the breath. Feeling full. Exhale out through the mouth. Feeling the abundance and the gratitude for this moment. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Welcome back. Thank you for doing that with me. I invite you to watch the video version on my YouTube channel, which I'll link in the show notes. And I am so excited to be doing another solo episode for you. This comes at a time when the eclipse, the lunar eclipse in Sagittarius happened about a week ago now. And we are about a week away from the solar new moon eclipse in Gemini, and we are currently in Mercury retrograde, Saturn retrograde, Jupiter in Pisces, coming up on June 14th to the Saturn-Uranus square. And we're still in Gemini season, but I did want to point your attention that depending where you are in the world, on June 20th or 21st, we are going to have the sun ingressing into Cancer and our summer solstice here in the northern hemisphere and the winter solstice in the southern hemisphere. So I wanted to do this on June 1st because I feel like I'm coming out of some kind of death phase of my life, which I've been pretty vulnerable and open about sharing on this platform. And you're probably, if you're new or you're new to me, you're probably like, what does that even mean, right? I don't believe that our souls, our higher selves, the infinite parts of us are ever die or are ever reborn, but our bodies go through obviously a death process when we leave our bodies. I believe in that, but I also believe throughout our lifetime that we go through all of these death and rebirth phases of our lives. We're continuously evolving. And for some reason, my soul decided that in the last, I would say, 4 years, I would be rapidly going through these phases because I am ready and because I chose at that point in my life when I was ready to do the healing work, to do the spiritual work, the looking inward, that I was signing up for all of these deaths, all of these rebirths of myself. And also, what I mean by that is just becoming more of who I am, just unfolding the veil, the illusion, the Maya of my ego and all of the indoctrination and all of the programming and all of that that makes an identity and makes a person, kind of strip away and remembering who we truly are, that we are divine spiritual beings having this human experience. And it's just really becoming more of who we are, becoming more whole. We are whole already, and just becoming more loving. And so I wanted to start off the halfway point of 2021, June 1st, the first day of June, the first day of the 6th month. And at this point in my evolution, I really feel like I'm stepping into the next phase of my life, a phase where I fully show up in the leader that I'm meant to be, that I always knew I was meant to be. I just had these preconceived notions of how that's supposed to look and how I'm supposed to behave and how I'm supposed to speak. And it's 123 as I said that. So 123. I've become very into signs and synchronicities recently as I've been going through my dark night of the soul. Moment, which I'll speak about in just a second, but I really feel both in this vast darkness, in this vast emptiness, and I feel so whole at the same time. And I'm going to do the best that I can to communicate with you how I've been feeling and all of the growth that I've been experiencing in an effort to help you in your journey if you're going through the same thing or if you are about to go through something like this, to really surrender to it, because it is such a beautiful and powerful moment. And I I just cannot be more grateful for all of it, my life, everything, all of the especially difficult times, because for whatever reason, humans, we have to experience the lows. We have to have our Pluto moments, our Saturn moments, our obstacles to truly show us what we are made of, to truly learn. And my Mercury is in Pisces, so I move through and communicate through feeling and through intuition, and Mercury is currently in retrograde. So I'm going to do the best that I can. I did so much grounding before I started recording because, as you know, if you've been following along, every time I try to do these episodes during a Mercury retrograde, my mind goes off in different tangents. So I also wanted to do this because Saturn is retrograde in my third house, and the third house is all about social media and technology and community, and it's in that house where I am really reflecting on a lot of how I show up in community, who I'm surrounding myself with. And Saturn is a planet of long term. It's um, about discipline, of structure, and it being in retrograde, which there's nothing to be afraid of retrogrades, actually. Retrogrades are times of reflection, times of review. And I actually have Saturn retrograde natally in my chart. I have actually a lot of planets in retrograde in my chart, which is probably why I am comfortable with retrograde energy. And I actually really like retrograde times because it helps me with all of my fire and air energy to kind of slow down and to really ask myself really important questions. And if you've been listening to my other solo episodes, this ties in with a lot of the themes that I've been sharing. That what truly makes me happy, what feels in alignment, and it's a feeling, right? Like, and now I've become so attuned to my feelings because I have numbed myself for so long based on survival, really, that I forgot what it was like to feel, what it was like to truly give space to my feelings and emotions and honor them. And I'm telling you, I've been having some very difficult conversations with people in my life because I'm finally listening to those feelings, those nudges, and I'm being honest about it this time. Whereas, my moon is in Aquarius, and I don't know why, but Aquarians have this reputation for ghosting, for just cutting people off, for just trying to move forward. And that has not served me in the past. So I'm trying to break the cycles of my own patterns and how I show up in relationships, because Mercury is going retrograde in my 7th house of long-term relationships. Because I have so much awareness now of all of me and all of my patterns and my behaviors, I finally feel so powerful. I feel so empowered. But that didn't come in like a yay, rainbows and butterflies kind of way. It came from like a reckoning of who I am and how I've shown up in the past, and how maybe I also contributed to those situations. And nobody wants to look within when it comes to things like that, right? We all want to point the finger and we all want to project. And when I don't process my emotions and when I don't process my hurts and resentments and angers, it always comes out as projection. And when I see that, and now I have people in my life who are also aware of that, who can reflect that back to me in a loving manner. And I'm like, okay, I got it. And it really reminds me of that Jim Rohn quote, which I know either one of my guests or I've thrown around that quote before, but you really are the culmination of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. And I really, really implore you during this Gemini in retrograde, because Gemini is in Tarot, the lovers, the twins. It's all about looking around and how we communicate with others, and just look around and see if how you are both contributing to this relationship, to your friendship, to your partnership, business partnership, romantic partnership. And if you're both coming from a place of love and understanding each other's love languages, you can't blame somebody for not giving to you what you need if you are not communicating your needs, and if you are not sharing with the person your personal boundaries. But that also comes from a place of you doing your own inner work to understand these things. It comes from a heightened place of awareness. So I bring all this up because during this, first of all, eclipse that totally rocked me, it happened near my 1 degree on my Uranus and my ascendant. And for those of you who are new to astrology or who don't understand what I'm saying, that just means that I had a gigantic awakening. And full moons in general are illuminating times. And this was a South Node eclipse. So it was something that needed to be released from my past. If you want to learn more about this, what I'm speaking about, you can check out my last solo episode. I will link it in the show notes. But it was very illuminating, and I had a harsh reality of my life and where I am at this point and how I want to go forward and how I want to change. And I've had to make really, really big decisions. And for those of you who came to our eclipse event with Nick Lasky, the theme of this eclipse was you're at a crossroads. You have all of the information now that you need. You've seen something very clearly and you can't unsee it. So now it's up to you on how you want to proceed. Now, when I talk about these topics, there's no good or bad. There's no right or wrong. We don't live in a binary universe. It's really all about how you want to feel and how you want your life to unfold. And by knowing that and by seeing that clearly in your vision, you can make decisions. And I really did have to make some pretty tough decisions and some very, very, for myself, really, and for my community. And so with that being said, I wanted to make my first announcement. It's not like earth shattering, but I wanted to show up in my community in a bigger way and in a more inclusive way. And so with that, I I switched to Patreon from my previous provider because I wanted to, first of all, give my community, our community, a more inclusive way of engaging without having to commit the $33 a month. If you are not seeing financial abundance in this moment, but you wanted to engage, or maybe you couldn't commit enough time, every week is once a week is a lot for some people, and I understand that, but some people need that. Some people need that community once a week. So I have created 3 tiers. The first tier, and this is all based on tarot, it's not gender specific, but the first tier is the magician, and it's 1 circle a month. It's the full moon circle, and it's $7.77 per month. I'm super into numerology, if you could not tell. And the full moon circles every month are really for us to get together. I really resonate with that. In previous lifetimes, I was some kind of high priestess. I worked with the moons, and even my ancestors in this lineage that I'm in now were all very connected to the moon. They all follow the lunar calendar. So I really find that doing this kind of spell work, doing magic, doing things within a community on the full moon is super potent, super powerful. So if you've ever wanted to experience that and be part of a community once a month during the full moon, this is your tier. It's $7.77 per month. And yeah, and if you ever want to cancel at any time, please feel free. You don't have to email me. You can just cancel. I am 100% the belief that, you come into circles and people at certain points of your journey, and if it doesn't resonate anymore, there's no hard feelings there. And also, if you just want to try it out, if you just want to see what it's all about. And yeah, the second tier is the High Priestess tier, which is the second card in the Major Arcana in Tarot. And this one, you get 2 circles per month, the new moon and the full moon. You also, I know you get benefits as you move up in the tiers, so you'll just have to click the Patreon link in the show notes to discover more about the benefits. But the new moon is all about planting new seeds. And those new moon circles are equally as powerful. We do spell work, set our intentions, and the new and full moon circles are always the most packed and always the most lit. And yeah, so if you just can commit to two times per month, that's $11.11, 1111. The third tier, which is the Empress tier, is 4 circles per month. So we meet once a week, and you get access to free readings, discounts. The other 2 circles in between the full and new moon, we do special workshops. So for the month of June, on June 17th, we're having a human design expert reader coming in to share about human design. So those you get to come for free as a third tier member. And there's so many different freebies that I give my community. So it's really worth it if you want community once a week, if you want to be involved in free workshops and free giveaways. I've given away lots of things in the past. I've given away readings that totaled up to $300, astro readings, Akashic Records readings, just different things that I want to support my community with. So if that calls to you, that's $33.33. I know you're like, Laura, you're crazy with the numerology, but I really believe that numbers have a vibration, and 33, or the number 3, is the creation number, and the Empress is the third card in the tarot, which is the Empress is all about abundance and fertility and creation in this physical realm. The High Priestess is the second card in the tarot, and the High Priestess is all about intuition and working with magic, and same as the Magician. So if that calls to you, if you feel called, I feel super aligned to this and super excited about this, which makes me feel like this was the right way to go, because I also want to mention that one of our circle members asked me, you say that you're being inclusive, and you say that you want to have a diverse community, but how are you actually doing that? And it really made me go inward and ask myself, you're so right. Like, how am I making this more diverse, and how am I making it more inclusive? So this was one way to move towards that, is to make it first financially affordable for different kinds of people in different areas of their financial abundance. But also in the past, I've overcompensated that by doing everything for free and then draining my own energy. So I felt like this was the best way. And one thing that I wanted to really start doing for the Empress tier, so the third tier, is doing twice a month like group readings with astrology and tarot. So I'm just super excited. If you see my face on YouTube, I have a huge smile, huge excitement. And there's just so many amazing projects and things that I've just made more space for, that are coming in right now, that I can't really share because I don't work that way. I'm not a talker, I'm a doer. I'm an Aries sun. So I do things before I talk about them. That's also something that I really believe in, is like, don't talk about it, just show, just do. So I will announce that when it comes out, but it's just exciting time, because I really when I was releasing so many things during Pisces season, during March, and really making all of this space, it was scary, because you're letting go of things that make you feel comfortable. You're letting go of things that and when you create that much space without having something show up right away, you start to question yourself. You start to question, like, am I doing the right thing? I just feel all this empty space. But now that I've fully trusted and surrendered to the divine, things are starting to fill in the space that I truly, truly want to do and that I feel aligned with. So if this was a message or sign for any of you to do that, I highly, highly recommend it. It's not easy and it's not for the faint of heart, especially when you're an entrepreneur and you depend on things coming in at a certain rate. And trust me, financially, it has created a lot of, it triggered so much of my scarcity mentality again. Things that I thought that I had worked through in the fall, which is not surprising, right? Because this full moon eclipse in Sagittarius was a 6-month culmination from the new moon in Sagittarius that happened December 14th of 2020. And I remember very clearly because I have it in my journal. On that new moon, I went to the beach. I woke up super early to watch the sunrise. And I wrote in my journal that I really wanted to heal my lack mentality in all facets of my life. And I was going to do whatever it took to get to a place where maybe, like healing is an ongoing journey. We are never fully healed, but when things do come up that trigger us, we have the tools now and we don't react right away from a place of fear, from a place of, like reactive mode, that we can really turn it around quicker than we used to. And I have to say, after these 6 months of truly working on this, I really, really, it's almost like a miracle, because I just, again, not that I fully healed, but I see a perspective shift within me that has been manifesting in my outer realm. And it's not easy because we live in a society that is capitalistic, that is patriarchal, that thrives on the very idea of scarcity. And I was just having this conversation with my sister yesterday of having an abundance mentality, of having a mentality that is so opposite of what we see in this illusion of the collective agreement that we've all had. It really fucks with your mind. I have to say, like, just pure honestly, like, and it's so reinforced in media and social media, in the ads we see in society, in the clothes that we buy, just the bodies that we look at, our parents, right? Like my parents are immigrants, like their whole identity is scarcity and survival. So doing this work has been fucking scary and triggering, activating, lonely. I feel like I've been in the most hermit mode of my entire life. And I looked at pictures yesterday from before the panorama and I was like, I used to be that traveler. I used to be that true Sagittarian who would just go around the world without a care in the world. But I always had that scarcity feeling, that energetic feeling of scarcity and lack just simmering in the background. And I think we can all resonate with that. Whether we are conscious of it or not, it's always like in the background of our experience. And I really intentionally wanted to heal that. I really did. And it made me look at where the scarcity comes from, at what certain instances make me feel like there's not enough in terms of money, in terms of me personally, like my own worth. Pluto is retrograde in my second house of worthiness and of money. So Pluto has done a number on me. I have to say, since 2018, I've been going through some gnarly transits. So again, my soul decided that it was time. It is time, as Rafiki would say. And I have to say that June 1st, 2021, I feel like I truly, truly feel grateful for Pluto, for Saturn, for all of these rough transits that I've been experiencing, because I see life in such a different way. And I truly don't believe I would have gone through that if I wasn't going through all of these multiple dark night of the souls. And I told my sister yesterday, I'm grateful that for me personally, it was mostly about self-worth and money and about my lack mentality and about entrepreneurship and showing up versus my soul deciding on something crazy like a disease or something with a health or body, or one of our parents passing away or something like that. And that is why I truly believe that we are so divinely protected and guided. And I have to say that if you are going through that at this moment, any of those things I just mentioned, it's only because your soul and your team of spirit guides and angels knew that you can move through this time. That is, and I say that knowing, fully aware of how crazy that sounds, but I truly, truly believe that we put ourselves sometimes in these situations to remember who we are, to grow our souls, to transmute all of that fear and doubt and worry into something creative, into something that is truly meant to propel us forward if we choose to see it that way. And I really look at my life and I'm like, wow, I am truly divinely guided and protected, because if manifestation really worked in the way that we hope it works when we want the things that we want, just imagine all the things we would attract if we were attracting the things that we didn't want, and the crazy shit that goes through our mind, right? And I just have to say that I'm truly, truly grateful, because wow. 2020 alone really threw me for a loop there. So I wanted to bring this message of hope, and everything that I put forward from now on, which hopefully, if you've been following me and my work and this podcast and this community from the beginning, you know that everything that I put out there is with the intention of love, is with the intention of bringing more awareness to the collective. And what I mean by true love and true awareness and true unity consciousness is activism through healing, community, through making each other feel safe and seen. Because at the spiritual level, we are all one. We are all part of each other. And in the 3D level, in the human level, we all have to collectively heal this illusion together. And I wanted to bring this at the very critical point we are now in our humanity, that, and I think the reckoning and the realization that I came to during this time was that we can't heal other people. We are only responsible for our own healing, but we are mirrors to each other. So we can bring awareness to those around us. And also, we all heal at our own time, and we open up and quote unquote awaken in the time when we are ready. So again, I come with intention of love and of helping you experience this time in an easier way, as easy as I can make it, by giving you examples from my own experience. I am the ultimate guinea pig. And also by sharing my experience, it'll make you feel less alone. Because sometimes we go through these moments, at least for me, I'm a moon in Aquarius, which the default mode when I don't feel safe and seen is to go and cut people off and just be by myself. But now I've been trying to be more vulnerable and share with people like what I'm truly going through and what I am feeling. And it's so healing to share, and it's so healing to be in a community with people who understand what you were going through. And so that is why I started Awaken and Align community, was because in the beginning of this podcast, so many people were reaching out to me and saying that they wanted to, share their experiences and be in a community. So really everything I do is first and foremost community driven and with the intention of connection. And thirdly, through exploration, both learning and unlearning, because we will get to a place of healing when we can learn through other people's stories, through storytelling, but also unlearning old paradigms that we were fed. What a amazing topic. What an aligned topic for this Mercury retrograde in Gemini and the Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, because Saturn in classical astrology ruled the sign of Aquarius until we discovered Uranus, as if like I discovered Uranus. We as a collective discovered the planet of Uranus. And up until that point, people thought that, the planets ended at Saturn. And that's why Saturn is, the bounds, the constriction. This is where things end. It's the limit. It's where people thought that this is where our solar system ended, until they discovered Uranus and they were like, holy shit, there's a whole solar system out there. There's another planet. And that's why Uranus, the energy of it is of awakening, is of, it's the modern ruler of Aquarius. Aquarian energy is very outer worldly. It is the sign that rules astrology and of aliens and galactic beings, because it is like all of a sudden there wasn't just Saturn, but there was Uranus, and then they discovered, Neptune and Pluto, and then all of these asteroids and fixed stars, and they were like, okay, the universe is infinite. So I find it so interesting that Saturn was the classical ruler of Aquarius, which Aquarius is the air sign, whereas Capricorn, which is also ruled by Saturn, is the earth sign. And it being in retrograde, Saturn in Aquarius being in retrograde, is really, to me, asking us, like, so Aquarian energy is all about forward thinking, future thinking, thinking outside the box, being a little different, being truly unique to who you are. That's why I love Aquarian energy. I have my moon and Venus in Aquarius. It's just being different and owning that. And each of us are different in our own way, based on our cultural backgrounds, how we grew up, what we like, our sexual preferences, our preferences in general. And so I love this Aquarian energy. And really, this Aquarian energy reminds me so much of Gen Z. I respect Gen Z so much because they just do not give a fuck who, like, authority, what? No authority. Like, they just are so true to who they are and how they show up, what they like, and they've like created this their own language on social media. So Saturn retrograde in Aquarius is really asking us, okay, you want to move forward, you want to create this future that you want, but how are you going to do that for the long term? And before it went retrograde, Saturn went into Aquarius last year on December, what was it? December 20, it was at the solstice, at the winter solstice here in the Northern Hemisphere. So we had that huge Jupiter and Saturn conjunction in Aquarius. And it started for Saturn a 30-year cycle. So wherever you have Saturn currently transiting your chart, mine's in my third house, you're going to be reviewing, like, okay, I want to make these forward movements, these different things in my life, in this area of my life. But now I'm being asked to review that. Like, am I putting down real solid roots and structure? Because Saturn is roots and structure and the bones of things. For me, it's again transiting the third house, which is community and communication and social media. So I really had to ask myself, what do I want to do for the long term? How do I want to show up in my community? How do I want to communicate with my community? How am I showing up in an authentic way as well, Aquarius? And then Mercury. And what I find so interesting about these energies, again, is Saturn is the natural ruler of Aquarius in classical astrology. And Mercury is the home sign of Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication, commerce, and Mercury is the fastest moving planet of our solar system. It moves very quickly. So both Saturn and Mercury are in their home signs. So it makes them super potent, super powerful. Now look at your natal chart and see where Mercury in Gemini is transiting at the moment, because it's also significant because it is near the North Node in Gemini. Again, please reference my last solo podcast episode where I talk a lot about the nodes and about the eclipses. And this is a really pivotal moment for all of us collectively and individually, because you're being forced to look within, again, review, reflect. That's retrograde, of how you communicate, how you interact with others, how do you and wherever this is transiting in your natal chart will show you like what area of your life. So for me, again, this is happening in my 7th house of one-on-one partnerships, one-on-one relationships. And I really had to be honest with people, which makes me super uncomfortable. I'm just laughing at myself because I'm actually very proud of how far I've come. Because normally, again, I would have just ghosted people, but I'm just being completely, utterly honest and doing things in a different way, because this is the North Node in Gemini. I don't want to have to repeat these patterns. I don't want to have to continually repeat these cycles for myself. So I'm like, no, this time I want to make it right. I want to do the right thing by me and by other people. And that has made me become completely honest, especially with my family members, in particular, because Jupiter in Pisces is transiting my 4th house of family. Jupiter in Pisces, I feel, if we could just touch on that subject once again, is this beautiful energy of like spirituality, of really connecting to our spiritual purpose and like going into the dream realm, expanding our inner realms. And so I love this energy for all of us collectively, because we are really, really making ourselves, and we are wanting to go inward and really discovering for ourselves like what gives us true fulfillment, what gives us true happiness. And that's like the theme I keep thinking about, because also, if you listen to my interview with Remington Donovan, where he talked about the 5-year of it being a very revolutionary year, to me, that's inner revolution. Like, if you could ask yourself any question during these retrogrades is, what do you really want? What makes you so happy, so joyful? Set your soul on fire, because when you align to that energy within yourself, it creates a vibration within you that is literally as within, so without. So when you can align with that frequency of happiness, of fulfillment, of joy and alignment, it like activates something within you like Iron Man, like that boom. And you just radiate, you just become this like magnetic being, and it's like as within so without. So your outer realm starts matching how you feel inward. And again, that goes along so well with my last episode when I was talking about how I see manifestation so differently now. I see it more as just a state of being. I see it more as a state of being that frequency, just radiating out how you feel. And so, again, for me, healing my lack mentality was just being abundant and feeling that vibration of abundance. And I had to define for myself what that meant. And for me, it was resting, right? Because capitalism and all of these harmful structures and systems that we live in force us to believe that we have to keep going and going and going, being in the masculine, toxic masculinity of going, of this capitalistic structure, that it doesn't give our bodies and our nervous systems time to rest for true rest, where we can come to a place of dreaming, Jupiter and Pisces, of allowing our imaginations to roam free. Neptune in Pisces, Neptune is in Pisces right now. And allowing ourselves the time and space to fully feel abundant. I don't need to force. I don't need to hustle. I don't need to grind. I used to work in private equity, for those of you who don't know, for 6 years, and the last 4 years of that was working 100-hour weeks, burning myself to a crisp. I can't even believe I used to do this, because now the thought of me doing that makes me feel tired just thinking about it. I used to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning. I used to go to Soul Cycle, and sometimes I used to do back-to-back classes. So that's 90 minutes of hardcore cardio. Then I used to go to work from like 9 to sometimes like 7 or 8, but you have technology, so you're never really fully off of work 24/7. And then after work, we would go out for drinks, we'd go out to dinner, and then I'd get home at like 10. And then I'd go to bed at 11 and do it all over again. That's like 6 hours of sleep, working all day, exercising, drinking, all of the above. And then the weekends, because you were working all week, the weekends I'd be traveling, I'd be hanging out with friends, I'd be going all over the place. And I was thinking about that the other day, and I did that for so long. My body, first of all, I didn't have my period for like, and my period moon cycle, menstruation cycle, for like 4 years straight. I didn't have it, and I didn't have an appetite. I was so skinny. I was like malnourished. I was just not resting. I was not giving my body the time to just relax enough so that I could poop or get my period. And now, since 2020, thank goodness, it really allowed me to rest for the first time in my life. And now I just can't imagine living like that anymore. That to me is insane. That to me is the definition of scarcity mindset, that like you have to keep going, you have to burn your body out. And so this is what I mean by healing my lack mentality and going from a place of lack to abundance. Is there is all the time in the world. There is no such thing as time. Time is infinite. If I don't finish it today, I'll finish it tomorrow. Um, there's an abundance of love. There's an abundance of opportunity. There's an abundance of money. There's like just these affirmations that I say to myself all day, every day, especially when I'm when I'm paying my bills. And there is nothing more triggering than eighth house topics. Mars is transiting my eighth house right now in Cancer. And during that time, I had to work on my taxes, and I found out that I had to pay money to the IRS for the first time, because I made more money last year than I did in previous years. And I got so triggered by my accountant that I was like, So you're telling me that the US government has a certain level of or a certain amount that I have to owe because I made more money, and I have to pay somebody to tell me that, and then I have to pay you and the IRS because I made more money. Meanwhile, you have fucking Jeff Bezos who gets a $10 billion tax break, and he's like the richest man on earth, right? Like, this is my scarcity mindset on like 10 times like running through my head. And I immediately had to tell myself that, no, Laura, well, yes, that's true. And you made more money than you did in previous years. So yay, abundance. But again, there's nothing more 3D and triggering than doing your taxes or paying your bills. And when I'm doing that, before I do that now, I make myself feel super, super abundant. I say affirmations to myself. I play really, really high vibe music. I make myself feel in the state of wholeness and alignment before I do that kind of 3D stuff. And I just keep repeating to myself, like, I'm doing this because I love the community that I'm serving. I do this because I love what I'm doing. I do this because I'm in alignment with my purpose. And it just makes me see it all in a different way. It helps me see things in an abundance framework versus a lack framework. So I just wanted to share that in case anybody needed that to help them as well, because trust me, this is an ongoing moment to moment practice that I am still trying to figure out. But yeah, it's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart, as I mentioned in the beginning. So I wanted to make this episode a little bit shorter. I don't know if I'm succeeding in this or not. But before we close, I did want to do a collective reading for all of us. This is something that I do with the circle members. Every now and then I'll bring out the tarot and oracle cards for divination to give you messages that maybe will help you in this moment. And because I am reading for collective energies, take what resonates and leave what does not resonate. Because they are collective energies, one thing, like one animal symbol or number, could resonate with you and the rest does not. Also, tarot and oracle and divination is just confirming what you already know, but you need maybe an external resource like myself to confirm what you're already feeling. This is not your destiny. This is not your fate. You have free will. You can choose what you want to take in and what you do not want. Just need to say that disclaimer. So here we go. I'm going to do live shuffling. And for those of you listening on the podcast, I will describe the pictures, the imagery, and everything to the best of my ability. So first, I want to ask the Moonology deck here, any messages that will help us move through this time before the next moon cycle. So that would be the solar eclipse in Gemini, which is on June 10th. And if you want to join that circle, make sure to sign up on Patreon. Okay, so spirit, ancestors, archangels, and angels of the community of Awakened and Aligned, please help me to tune into the collective energy. Please help me to be a clear, neutral channel for the highest good of all involved. Okay, so let's see what Spirit wants to say. And before I share these messages, just have like maybe something in mind, something that ask for symbols, ask for numbers, ask for any animals or colors or anything that will help you, because I often find that when I do this for myself, I start seeing the animals and symbols and synchronicities in my outer realm, just as a confirmation from Spirit that they are watching over me. And I have been seeing them so much since the eclipse. I've been seeing 111-888-333. I've been seeing all the animals have been talking to me. I don't know if you've been following me on Instagram and TikTok, but all the animals, like to the point where they just stare at me. They're like, we see you, girl. And songs, Spirit sends me messages through songs. All right. So Spirit, what do you need the community of Awaken and Align to know at this very beautiful time before the solar new moon eclipse? By the way, new moons, the solar eclipses always happen in the new moon. The lunar eclipses, obviously lunar, always happen at the full moon. Okay, so we have 3. I will take all 3 actually. So first we have take time to breathe out the disseminating moon. And I'm so glad this came out because we started this with a breath. So take time to breathe out. So Mercury rules the mind. Gemini is a very busy energy. So is Aquarius actually. So maybe this is inviting you to do more breath work, do more meditation. And I know as I'm saying this, you know this, I know this, but it's not until I actually do it that I'm like, oh yeah, that actually does feel really good. So take time out to breathe. You're very close to achieving your goal. Gibbous moon, I love that. You're very close to achieving your goal. And this looks like, so we are going from a full moon to a new moon. So we're in the waning phase. So we're in a releasing phase. So this might be, like right now, which is, we're going from the full to the new moon, or the new moon to the full moon. So just look out for that. New moon in Scorpio, work through your fears. Yeah, I feel like we're all doing this. Scorpio is the energy of death and rebirth, of transformation. Scorpio is in classical astrology ruled by Mars, and in modern astrology by Pluto. So also check, because Pluto's in retrograde, and Pluto is right now transiting a part of your chart where it's asking you to look at where you're needing to release old things for you to ultimately, because Pluto is also, yes, it disintegrates everything that we've known. It like pulverizes things. But from there, it's like the phoenix rising from the ashes. That's where we find our power. And actually, Scorpio, the totem for Scorpio is the eagle and the phoenix. And I've been seeing the phoenix imagery a lot recently, because the phoenix always rises up from the ashes. So if you are in that ash period right now, which is how I feel, just know that your wings are gonna take flight and you're going to become this beautiful phoenix from your own ashes, because nothing ever, energetically, nothing ever dies. We just transmute. We take our experiences, we take our fears, we take our anger, we take our resentments, and we change the form. That's why it's transmutation. We change it into something creative, something that we can use going forward. So that's a beautiful message. So now I want to ask these wisdom oracle decks. I love this deck. And I want to ask, Spirit, I just want to ask for the collective of Awaken and Align, how can we be on our highest timeline? How can we be on our highest timeline? How can we be on our highest timeline? And if you're listening to this, or if you're a part of this community, you are on your highest timeline, because when you are on your highest timeline, you've agreed to do the work, you've agreed to do your shadow work, you've agreed to look inward. And really, that is why it's called a co-creation, because we are not doing this by ourselves. We have full support of our ancestors, our spirit guides, our angels and archangels, and of spirit. And that's why I find it so powerful. Woo, did you see that? How it flew out like that? Oh, wow, we got 2. And okay, I'm gonna read both because this one came out during my own personal reading and I feel like maybe you need to hear this as well. So the first one we have is number 52, which breaks down to a 7. So I've been seeing a lot of 7s. 7 is my life path number. It's the number of wisdom. And it says mending. And it's a picture of these 2 fairies mending like a banner, and there's 2 spools of thread. And in the background, there's this beautiful pink sky, looks like sunset. So I'm going to read the message, the oracle message for you. This is mending again. So interesting how I just got this from my own personal reading. But synchronicity, essential meaning, forgiveness, making amends, healing after arguments. Oracle's message, each time we are hurt and allow the hurt to pass through us without understanding and integration, we accumulate an unwanted burden. This keeps us chained to the very things we need to heal, the pain, the memories, the echoes of resentments, and the arguments that we rehearse over and over. Now is the time for mending rifts, healing wounds, and letting go of the old hurts in order to reclaim your power. What was I just saying? With the new moon in Scorpio, work through your fears. Wow, okay. Now is the time to forgive, to release, to make peace, and to make amends to others. Set yourself free. Wow. Okay, wow. The second card, which I shit you not, is 25, which reduces to a 7 again. So 7, 7. 7 might be very important, synchronistic number. And this one says round and round. And it's this picture of this, like, looks like there's a head in the middle, but it's like a nautilus. And the colors are blue. Whenever I see this card round and round, it reminds me of the Wheel of Fortune card in Tarot, that it's like fate. Whatever you are going through is fated, and to trust that it is going to turn. When you're at the top of the wheel, right? When we're at the top, when we're experiencing like the true bounty of life, it's like you almost know that you're going to go to some point at the bottom. I also like to use the metaphor of like the wave, like when you're at the top of the wave and when you're riding the wave, it's super easy, but then you go at the bottom of the wave, right? But just as the Wheel of Fortune, when it turns, when you're at the bottom, you know that you're going back to the top. That truly we live in a spiral world, and this actually looks like a spiral, that when you are going back to old wounds, you know, retrogrades can bring up people from the past. Retrogrades can bring up old wounds, that it's not that you're going back to where you were, but that you have an opportunity to heal even deeper because you have more wisdom now. You have an opportunity to see it at a different vantage point. So let's say that you were at one point of your healing journey, and now you're at a higher perspective, and you can see it with more wisdom, and you could see it with more love, and you can heal it even deeper. Oh, these are such synchronistic messages, especially with this gibbous moon card. You're very close to achieving your goal. So whatever you were asking about, the colors are very similar. This gibbous moon card is also blue. So whatever you're asking about, just trust that you're very close. So I will read this message. So 25. Gots to find it. Here we go. Okay. Essential message. Oh my gosh, the first word is spiral. Oh my God. The spiral quality of events when a lesson isn't quite integrated. Cycles you are challenged to break. I can't believe this message right now. Revisiting a pattern from a new perspective. What was I just saying? Oh my gosh. The Oracle's message. The appearance of this card is a reminder that although it may appear that you've gone backward, the truth is that you are standing at a higher level. I swear I didn't read this beforehand. Looking down into your circumstances, you will learn something, do something better, and break a cycle set up in the past. You actually have a bird's eye view of your initial footprints and can access the wisdom and lessons learned. OMG. OMG. Okay. Wow. Wow. So again, to summarize, time to breathe out, disseminating moon. Give yourself the time and space during this retrograde season, during this Mercury retrograde specifically, which is going to go direct on, so it started May 29th and it'll go until June 22nd. The Saturn and Pluto retrograde are longer, and with these outer planets, the energy is a little different. Jupiter is also going to go into retrograde, but the one that really will affect you is the Mercury retrograde. So during this time, take time out to breathe, because what I'm getting from this message is maybe during this retrograde time, a lot of people from your past and a lot of old things will come back to the surface with this mending card and this round and round card to help you heal and integrate even further the lessons that you have learned, and trust that you have a higher perspective, that you have more wisdom with the 7-7 here. And that a lot of times, you know, when people come back from our past, when we are activated or triggered by people in our family or friends, because people, relationships in general are just mirrors reflecting back what we need to heal within, right? As much as I would love to feel like enlightened, just spend a weekend with your family. You know that famous quote, if you feel like you're so enlightened, spend time with your family and you'll quickly realize how you go back into your old patterns and belief systems. So this new moon in Scorpio is really asking to work through your fears. Like, this is the time. Eclipse season is all about releasing old shit, old beliefs, old paradigms, the old way of seeing this world. And the North Node being in Gemini, with Mercury being in Gemini retrograde, is seeing things with a different lens, seeing things with a new perspective. You're very close to achieving your goal. Really, really, I feel collectively we're going to go through a lot of change in the month of June. I just feel it within my bones. I feel like a lot of people are going to have a lot of choices. I feel like a lot of people are going to be moving. I feel like a lot of people, since 2020 made us go inward, hopefully you took that invitation. And now I feel like it's made a lot of people feel, this is my chance. This is, if I was a little bit fearful, or if I was letting things hold me back in the past, I'm going to shoot my shot. I'm going to ask that person out on a date. I'm going to go on that trip by myself. I'm going to start that business. I'm going to, whatever it is related to you. Like, this is, I feel like, the moment where collectively we are all deciding to go after it. We are all deciding one way or another to burst out of this limiting shell that we've put ourselves in and to really, really get after it. But with that, that means that we have to work through our fears so that we can achieve our goals. And I'm just saying that for myself because, as I was sharing in the beginning, I had to remove all of this ego identity bullshit that I was like hiding behind, you know? And this eclipse really made me see clearly of these like limiting beliefs I had about myself, the perception that I had on this world that like I couldn't do X, Y, and Z because I didn't think I had enough, or that I needed certain resources, when in fact, the Magician card, which is, you know, the number one in the major arcana besides the Fool, is that you have everything that you need. And that was the theme of the last podcast episode that I shared. You have everything that you need. The Magician has the pentacle, the sword, the wand, the cup. It has everything within themselves to truly use magic. And when I use that term magic, I just mean as within, so without. You have everything within you. You have all the resources within you to affect change in your outer realm. It doesn't work the other way around. It's not we see, then we get. No, it's truly as within, so without. Like when you are asking for abundance, when you are asking for love, when you are asking for security, fulfillment, you have to find that within your being. It has to resonate. It has to be in your cellular like body, in your vibration, in your resonance. And if there is one thing to take away from this entire podcast, or if this is the only time you ever listen to me, I just want you to know that you are capable. You can do it. I believe in you. No matter your circumstances, no matter how broke, in debt, in anything, just read people's stories of how. This is why I read people's biographies, why I watch documentaries of people. If you are listening to this, you have some kind of device with Wi-Fi that you can listen to me. You have hopefully food to eat. You have shelter. You have clothes on your back. If you have that, then you have enough. You have everything that you need to create massive change in your life. If you live in the United States, fuck, you won the fucking lottery. We are the richest country in the world. We have, despite what, yes, we have issues, we have problems, and the power and the wealth is not necessarily distributed to the right people. But know that if you ever travel anywhere else outside the United States, people know, it's a known fact, that we as Americans are the richest country in the entire world. So I just want to motivate you, inspire you that you can do it. You really can. And I want to be a source of love again, of a source of abundance, of sharing, of just being hopeful. Because somebody said to me recently, I won't reveal their name because I don't want to spoil the surprise, that we can choose cynicism or hope. And both we choose. And we can choose to see this world in a shitty place of like, everything's going wrong. And yes, we do have problems. Yes, we do need to be active and we need to change this collective. But at the same time, we can have awareness of that and still see this world with hope and of love. And that's that's the world that I want to live in. I want to live in a world of peace, of abundance, of healing, of love, of community, of truly, truly being there for each other. So if you want that too, you're welcome. Yay! You're welcome to be in this community. All bodies are welcome. Everybody's welcome. And I truly, truly send you so many blessings and abundance your way. And have a beautiful, beautiful week.